Thanks, Brian. So today we're going to talk about how we create recurring revenue with creating site maintenance plans. We're going to focus a little bit on how to grow our revenue by creating that recurring revenue that keeps coming in, simply by just adding in maintenance plans and site care plans and things along those lines. So first question, for things we're going to cover today is going to be why should I have recurring revenue, examples of recurring revenue. We're going to talk about how we create site plans. Then we're also going to talk about some great tools out there. So first, let's start what is recurring revenue and why is it important? So recurring revenue is a reliable income. It's something that you can plan for. Think about subscriptions, right? Basically, recurring revenue, it's going to help relieve those stressful moments you have as an agency owner or a freelancer by basically stopping you from living from project to project. It's going to slow down that need to always be hustling, create some income that you can rely on, predictable income that's coming in. And you can even take a day off here and there without having to worry about bringing in that next big project so you can keep money flowing in. It's also, without recurring revenue, one of the biggest or the hardest thing is to turn that profit every month. You're going to have bad months. It's just the way it is with running a business. You're going to have those slow periods. Every year you have to start back over if you don't have recurring revenue coming in, which means every year, the next year you start, you're back at zero. You have nothing that's coming in new until you create that. A lot of times projects can stall. This happens a lot. We actually have a project we're working on currently where the client, due to it's a school and due to graduations and all that, they just asked if they can put it on hold for a month before completing the project, which means we're holding off on that final payment to come in because we're waiting on that client. So projects can stall, which will can become a problem if you don't have that other revenue to rely on that's coming in. Also allows you to stabilize your income, allows you to plan for things and know what's coming up. By turning on or by using recurring revenue, you also become more than just another vendor. You're creating a relationship. So what I'm talking about is with one-off projects, you kind of get forgotten over time. The clients work with you and then they just kind of disappear. Good example, you build a website for somebody. They may talk about you right after you build that site, but because there's not that relationship and that ongoing relationship, they slowly start to forget about you over time. And as they forget about you, then they're not going to refer over new business to you. So with ongoing, you're developing that relationship because you're having a conversation with them often. You're constantly reaching out and talking with them. You're building that stronger client relationship. And in turn, it ends up turning into a whole lot more referrals and them sending business your way. So some examples of other industries they've created recurring revenue streams. Think movie theaters. Movie theaters have started going down the idea of creating a subscription type platform. Spotify, car wash companies. Look at even software like Microsoft Office. Used to be you bought that once and then you held on to it for as long as you needed to until it was way out of date and then you bought the next copy. By keeping this recurring revenue model, they can guarantee some income coming in on a monthly basis because everyone's paying on a monthly fee for that. Even car wash companies are doing it now. You can get the unlimited washes for, maybe it's $60, and they've already done the math to figure out on average how many people will actually use that. Sure, you could go every day and get your car washed, but they've already done the math to figure out that they're going to still make money off of that because you're only going to come in so much. So there's a lot of other business models out there who have moved to this recurring revenue type of platform, and there's no reason why as an agency you should not be looking at doing this as well. So creating these site care plans is a lot easier than you think it is. So first, what we're going to have to do is we're going to figure out what services we want to offer and create some different packages. So what I like to do is I like to create like a really basic, affordable plan for everybody. And then we also create some more advanced ones. And then we also create some hidden plans. So we'll talk about those hidden plans a little bit later, what I mean by that. But what we do is we do create a basic and more advanced plan that fits the different needs and different price levels for our different clients. So the basics of a site plan, if you're offering, let's say, web design and development, these are some of the different types of services that I always say that you probably should have inside of a basic plan. Hosting services, and I know that's going to scare some of you. We're going to talk about that in just a second. WordPress updates, site backups and restore, and WordPress security. A lot of these things are things that everyone's going to need when they set up a site. You can't set up a site without hosting, for example. That is definitely a big piece of setting up a website, and your clients are going to need that. So this is the first thing I always get. I'm not a server admin. I don't do hosting. I don't want to do hosting. I don't want to touch it. I'm not a server admin. It's not what I want to do. And this is where I kind of say, hold up a second. Website hosting is the one thing that every single client that you build a website for is going to need. They may not think they need the other things, but the one thing that you can definitely convince them they need is a place to put the website online so people can find it, right? So clients, they don't understand hosting. It's a black box to them. They look at it and they're like, I'm not sure what's going on here. I just know I pay somebody and my website's online, and that's about it. They're going to, a lot of times, either buy something that's not big enough for what they're doing, or they're going to overbuy something and get way more than they need, because the salesperson's going to look at them and say, hey, I can sell them everything, and they're going to buy $1,000 hosting plan to keep their site up when they only get 10 visits a day to their website. So you can also standardize the environment. This is great if we're offering those other plans, because you know what's in there, you know how it's set up, you know that there's backups happening, you know what's on that server and how that server works, how the caching on that server works. Because it's a standardized environment, you know everything and how it works. There's no surprises coming to you. And then the client's going to always contact you for support. And here's the thing. They're going to contact you for support no matter what. Regardless of who they host with, you're going to be the first line of support anyways. And so why not just be the host and not have to do the game of, oh, well, that's your host problem, you need to call them. And then they're going to be like, well, I need to loop you in. And it's going to become a whole mess anyways. You're going to end up supporting them anyways with the with their request. So there's different types of hosting that you can choose. There's managed WordPress hosting. There's VPS dedicated in cloud, and then there's cPanel WHM. Managed WordPress hosting, I think, is the best. It's at a higher cost, but it's less work. This is where you have staging environments, you have backups, caching, and all these different things. Then you have the VPS dedicated or cloud route. These ones are lower cost, but they do require some more work. You're going to have an idea of how web hosting and how running a server works. This is where you do kind of have to be the server admin. And then cPanel is kind of, it's not really tailored for WordPress. It's out there. You can get it pretty cheap, but you also are going to have lower performance. You also need to understand how to work with cPanel and things like that. So I normally suggest to stick with the managed WordPress hosting. Some of the benefits of using the managed WordPress hosting is the server environment is handled by the host. Support is managed by the host, and it's tailored to WordPress with the best-in-class caching, staging environments, backups, latest, and they have agency pricing plans. And so we tell you all this because you won't have to worry about all of these things. You could just offer it straight up to them so that your clients have these available. So with the agency pricing options with a lot of these, the pricing scales down. Kind of give you an idea. So this is the setup that GoDaddy Pro has with their managed agency WordPress pricing. And you'll see that I broke out kind of along the bottom how much it ends up costing per site. $5 per site, down to $360, down to $340. And you'll notice you get all those great things that you can offer back to your clients. And you'll see there's like 5, 10, 25, 50 websites in these packages. But you're able to provide all of these and pass these on as values to your client as well and offer these. Now, they can't normally go and get the same pricing themselves because you're getting it at a discount. Now, there's a couple different ones out there. I use Flywheel myself, but GoDaddy just started offering this as well, and Kinsta is also offering this. And you'll see there's different price points here. Kinsta's on a little higher side, GoDaddy's on the cheaper side. Flywheel kind of comes in there in the middle, and you'll see the range there that starts from a lower amount of sites to the more sites you have. As we said, it scales down as you go. The more sites you have, the cheaper per site it gets. I would say look at all of these different ones out there and see which one fits your client's needs the best. And you can set that up very easily. And the cool thing about all of these is they handle the support for you. So when something breaks, if I'm out at the beach on vacation and one of my sites go down on Flywheel, I just send Flywheel a quick support message and they get the site back up for me. I don't have to then go find a computer and go get back to the hotel room, get hooked up and get the website back online. They take care of that for me, which is why I always suggest the managed WordPress agency hosts, because they basically will host your clients' websites for you through you white labeled and allow you to still use their services. So if you're going to do cloud hosting, there's a couple different services. We do for a lot of our bigger sites. We host them on UpCloud. You can also host them on DigitalOcean or AWS or Google Cloud, any of those different cloud providers. And we use SpinUp WP, which helps us to kind of manage that environment a little bit, so we're not going full server admin. We're kind of in between. And then there's also RunCloud and Cloudways as well. All of these kind of offer similar services. And ironically enough, they all have very similar logos, I noticed when I put this slide together, which I thought was kind of funny. But these are all great services to use if you're trying to look for something to help you manage all of a cloud server. We do this for like our larger clients just because at the larger level, using a lot of those other hosts, they do charge a really high rate. For example, one of my sites I got quoted. They quoted me roughly, I think it was $900 a month to host the site. I'm able to actually host the site on using SpinUp and UpCloud on their own server. It is actually more powerful than the server they were offering me. I think I'm out hard cost about $100 a month. And so I was able to, charge the client for the extra work involved and save the client money, as well as make a little bit extra for us on our side. And, okay, there we go. All right. So these tools can, a lot of those tools I was just talking about, they will help. So like SpinUp, RunCloud, all of them, they'll help you with page caching. They'll put Let's Encrypt. They'll help you make staging sites, backups. They do have a lot of those other pieces you get with the managed WordPress hosting. They are a little more complex, so just make sure you do know you will be playing a little bit around with the server. You'll have to perform the server upgrades while they'll assist you in them. You'll still have to go reboot the server yourself and do things like that. With all of those, you can bring your own server. So DigitalOcean, UpCloud, AWS, Google Cloud Services, Linode, or just a couple out there that you can use to bring over. We use UpCloud here is our preferred cloud vendor for servers. So the other thing you can do, we're going to talk about keeping their websites up to date. Clients don't keep their websites updated. You'll see this all the time. They never go back in after you set up their website. They never do updates. So we offer weekly updates. We promise a little bit faster on security updates. So if some big security thing comes out, we go ahead and update those. If a update plugin breaks the site, we'll either do a quick fix or advise the client on the next steps. And then we also use some tools to help manage this process. So for example, GoDaddy Pro Sites, what that'll do is that allows you to do mass updates across all of the different sites. I'll show you here. It kind of runs through. You can just hit Save Update, select the different things, different ones you want to do. It'll do a visual comparison. It'll run the Save Update. We're going to fast forward this video just a little bit, just for time's sake. You'll see it starts running the updates. It runs a backup of the site first, and then we'll go ahead and advance because it takes a second here. And at the end of running the updates, you'll be able to pull up the sites and do a visual comparison to see if there's any major differences. So this is how we're able to roll updates to all of our clients very quickly and get them all up to date and not have to worry about seeing if there's any major things out there. So really, you can update 50 websites using a tool like this very quickly across all of them. And you can just go in, make your updates, spend about 30 minutes going in, make sure everything was good, and then be on your way. So you can see by adding that as a service, you can actually manage a lot of clients doing that. Let's see, can we advance the slide? All right, so the next thing we can do is we can keep the websites backed up for them. The biggest thing is clients like to just know that their backups are happening and think that their site is safe and still up and running. So backups should happen on a regular basis. So daily is best. Make sure you can easily restore those backups. I like to have the backups in multiple places. So for example, when we were talking about this managed WordPress host, all of them will take a backup daily for you. So we always have the hosting backup. Then we also use the GoDaddy Pro that I just showed you, which is formerly known as Managed WP. We use that service to also run a secondary backup and store that backup over there so that we always have two backups. In most cases, you only need the host backup, but it is nice of peace of mind to let your clients know that we are backing this up in multiple places. So they don't need to worry about losing that if the host goes away or something like that. You always have that secondary backup somewhere. Okay, offering security. If you're doing everything else, you're keeping their site up to date, you're on a nice, solid, secure host. In most cases, keeping their site secure is pretty easy because you're already doing all the right steps. So biggest things with security is you got a secure hosting environment, SSLs, regular updates, security scans, and then you can also fix hacked sites. Some managed hosts actually offer this. So when we go back to those managed hosts, I know, for example, my host, Flywheel, that I use, if a site does end up getting hacked, I just send into their support, and within a few hours, their support team goes out, fixes the site, cleans off the whole site for me, and gets it all back up and running. So there's not even something I even have to really do besides reaching out to them. And then obviously they give me next steps of what to make sure they find and say, we think it was this plugin. And then I go ahead and I make sure that that's fixed and that plugin's removed or whatever needs to happen at that point. You can also use security as kind of an insurance. If you're on a host that does not do that for you, you can use that as something that you can go in and just purchase one as more of an insurance plan when it does happen. Again, if you're doing it right, I think in our 4 years we've been doing this, I think we've only had 1 or 2 sites that we've actually had a successful hack go through on them, and them getting in and causing some issues. And so, it's very low. If you're doing everything right, it should be a very low number of mouse sites getting hacked as long as you're keeping them, secure and closed up. All right, so let's talk about using a tool to help with all of these. We were just talking kind of about how I use the GoDaddy Pro tool. It has the free features. It can do monthly updates, backups, all of those. You also have premium, and you can get backups, white labeling, uptime reporting, a whole bunch of other things. You can build all of these into your plans. And so you can use this to kind of build out those plans. So let's talk about creating some additional services for our higher level plans, right? So you can offer speed optimization, CDN services, SEO services. You can even include support and dev hours. Give you an idea, this is what we offer, right? So we have a basic and an advanced plan. So our basic plan's at $59 a month, and we have light hosting, updates to themes and plugins, updates to WordPress, daily backups, and uptime monitoring. But under our advanced plan, we actually have backups every 6 hours. We do uptime monitoring. We already do uptime monitoring. We have an hour of support time that you can use, so free hour of dev time for whatever you need it for. Speed optimization, content delivery network. We also do website maintenance report for you, basic SEO, which those are all just coming from the tools. We're not really actually doing anything additional besides turning on those features. And then that's also where we offer our malware cleanup as part of our services. And we are reworking these services a little bit just to do some changes with our hosts. Our hosts actually added a few new features that are now free to us. So we're going to actually be moving some things around to make the basic have a little bit more in it. Again, just look at what offerings you can offer that makes sense. All right. So this is also when we talk about the hosting side. You notice on all of those plans we included free light hosting. So the light hosting is included, and this is one of our things that we do. We don't add on a fee. It's always an included service. So if you choose not to use our hosting, that's just something you're choosing not to use. It does not change the price of our maintenance plan. So you'll see right here, we have our light, which we offer, and then we actually go up business professional. So these are for larger sites that need a little bit more. We just have an add-on that adds to that. So 25 additional or 50 additional per month for those items. All right, so now we need to price and sell our plans. I'm gonna check our time here. So for pricing our plans, ultimately it depends on our types of clients. You need to price based on what your site builds are. If you're selling a site for $1,000, offering maintenance at $150 a month just isn't gonna probably fly. So you're going to want to look and see how much do you sell your websites for. If you're selling websites for $15,000 a piece, then you probably can offer something a lot higher in your maintenance plans. You can probably get away with something that's $300, $400, $500 a month because the price point, that's going to fit their price point. But if you're selling cheaper websites, you're going to want to make that pricing work for that type of client. Also, I like to have hosting only plans that are hidden. So if they don't want to do any of those other services, I can at least still get them on the hosting side. With us, we have a hosting only plan that's I think at $25 a month. Don't quote me on that. I got to check our sheet, but we have a $25 a month that's just hosting that will take care of just the hosting and that's it. We don't advertise that, but it's our last ditch effort if we are going to potentially lose a client on a recurring basis. Then we go ahead and also create custom plans for clients that have higher needs. Those are the ones that we end up putting on SpinUp and onto the other servers as well. Don't sell maintenance plans. You want to sell peace of mind. The key is when you're selling these is you're selling the peace of mind. You're saying, I'm the expert here in the web. You're the expert in your craft. So you focus on your craft. I'm going to focus on the web for you, and I'm going to keep your website up. I'm your one point of contact. So whenever anything with your website comes up, you just reach out to me and I will take care of it. It's concierge, basically. Concierge service is what you're selling them. Timing is the key when you're selling these maintenance plans. I mention it in my proposal, but I don't really do the full sales pitch until we're closer to launch. This way, we've already built that relationship. They already have a trust in us. It's a lot easier to sell than in the beginning when you're presenting them the numbers of the website and they see the cost to build the website. You don't want to really be pushing too hard on trying to sell the monthly service until after you've already got that website mostly built. For retaining your clients, the biggest thing I do is you want to report back to them on what you're doing. Let them know that you are doing stuff for that cost that they're paying monthly. Don't hide. Just be out in the open. Communicate with them. Go above and beyond with the quiet clients, and also show value. So when you have a client that's not really ever contacting you or doing anything, you may want to just do a little bit of extra just to make sure they know that you are still there and that you are helping them out. So some tools, I'm gonna go through these really quick, but some of the tools that we like to use to help us is for billing. Monthly credit card subscriptions are the best way. Don't try invoicing and going with any other type of payment. It's going to get really messy as you get clients on. So we use Zoho subscriptions is what we use for ours because we use Zoho Books and the whole Zoho suite for CRM and all that stuff. So it all kind of integrates together. Flywheel, if you're using Flywheel for hosting, you can actually use their Flywheel Growth Suite. You can use WooCommerce subscriptions and set that up on your site. Recurly and Chargeify are two other services as well that do monthly billing. So there's a couple of different tools you can use for monthly billing. See which works for your flow and your accounting. Offload the management of the websites to another team. So let's say you want to offer recurring services, but you just really don't want to get into doing all that we just talked about. There's a couple services out there that'll do some of this stuff for you. GoWP will do a whole bunch of the site maintenance for you completely for your customers. They do not do the hosting, but they will do all the other pieces. If you're hosting with Flywheel, they have Flywheel managed updates, so you can actually pay them. I forget what their rates are, but it's low. It's a low costing. It's like $8 per site, and they'll take care of doing the weekly updates to the website. You also have WP Buffs and Maintain, same thing. They also will handle those services for you. And so that's it. That's how we create recurring revenue plans for our sites. And just glad you're able to be a part of this. And if you've got any questions, please let me know. Have a great day.